Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Check what we have for you today. This is an absolute stunner of a watch. This is the very hard to get hold of now Sinn 903 limited edition. This is the STHB. There are only 500 of these and they have sold out on the actual Sinn webpage. So literally this is probably one of the very few left for sale, which is brand new. And it is absolutely gorgeous. Just to address the issue, Sinn brought the rights to make this watch back in the late 70s, amongst a couple of other brands as well, when basically Breitling were being liquidated and they'd ran out of money. Sinn was still going strong and they actually own the rights to make this watch. This has got so many more features than what the actual, well, there's many more things this can do, but Breitling actually can't. We'll go into them in a little bit later. But first, I've got to say a massive thank you to the team over at First Class Watches. They particularly got in touch with me and said they have this one, which is really good of them. They're absolute stars. So much stock, so many interesting watches. So I would recommend, if you're in the Midlands area, to pop along to the Tamworth branch, see what you think. If you're a bit further afield, well, don't worry, I'll leave a link in the description below and at the bottom of the page now. All I ask, if you do contact them, please mention the channel. So let's talk sizes. We're talking 40.9 millimeters across, a thickness of 14.7 mil. Now, I know a lot of people go, oh, that's too thick. But if you actually try and get yourself the Breitling version, I believe it's over a millimeter even thicker than that, almost 16 mil. So do bear that in mind. You know, after all, it's a mechanical chronograph, auto wind. And the lug to lug is 48 millimeters, and the bracelet size on this is 22 millimeters. Now, the dial is rather cool, isn't it? It's got this real nice kind of ice blue look to it, but then you have these great subdials. The subdials have been sunken down and they look absolutely superb. But then you have these applied, they're applied by hand actually, these hybrid ceramic lume markers, and they look amazing when they're lit up. The lume just looks really crisp and sharp, I have to say. Now, obviously the main thing with this designer watch is the slide rule, and to be fair, I could probably spend about 20 minutes talking about how to use this if I knew how to. So literally it's one of these, it can do many things. Once you actually get into this and you understand it, there is a lot this can actually do. It is actually very clever. But anyway, we do have, as you can see, let me stop the chronograph for a second. It's very subtle. Let me just do that off camera. It's very nicely dampened, but we'll talk why it is in a second when we actually look at the movement. But it's just lovely. As you can see here, what we have, these are the normal timekeeping hands, and this over here, the subdial at 9 o'clock, is your seconds for your timekeeping. This red one here is actually the chronograph, and this is activated by pressing this crown. So if I stop it and then reset it, you'll see both this hand and these subdials reset back to 0, and they snap back really nice and crisp. Now, what this allows you to do is record times, elapsed times for up to 12 hours. If I start it, you can see then the red second hand starts going, and one full revolution of this means this will then click over 1, and that will signify 1 minute. Now, once you go past half an hour, this will jump halfway, and you know that you're in the second half of that hour, and this obviously goes around all the way to 12. So it is a very nice system. It's a bomb-proof movement in this, so it's really good. Now, the hands themselves are a nice polish on there. I love the little red tip to this. It very is reminiscent of the very early ones. And what's super nice in this dial is that applied Sinn logo there. It is really nicely done. Overall, I think the dial, don't get me wrong, it's busy, but it's so well done, I think. It's one of these, it's an acquired taste. It may not be to everyone's, but, you know, it's a bit of history, really, this watch. So it's one of those. Now, as we come past this, we have this lovely domed crystal. Now this crystal, sapphire crystal, it has AR coating on both sides. So as you can see, it really does do a good job of sort of like eliminating most of the reflections. Obviously, I've got so many cameras going on here, but it really does do a very good job of that. Now, the bezel itself, now it is screwed down. You do have these small screws here. And when I rotate it, that's how you actually rotate the internal bezel here. Now, I had a few people ask on my other video, does the glass rotate as well? And yes, it does. So the glass is fixed to the bezel. It is quite a, I wouldn't say it's stiff as such, but it's a very smooth, and it does require a bit of force to actually move this. If you imagine, there must be it must be at least 2 seals in there to protect it for its water resistance. Because after all, this has got 200 meters of water resistance and low pressure rating as well. Now, if you compare that to the Breitling version, well, for one, their 41mm Navi timer, they don't have a chronograph. The only chronograph they have is in 41mm, 43mm version, the rose gold, which is about 55,000 euros, I believe. This one here in 41, they don't actually make anything equivalent to this. So this, their standard ones, I should point out, only have 30 meters. 30 meters is considered, splash resistant. This, with its 200 meters, is no problem to go near water at all. Don't know if I advise it anyway, but it can take 200 meters, which is pretty outstanding. I do like the way they've got the machined in marks out. Obviously, as it tapers, you get this nice sort of like sharp edge kind of fangs to it as such, but it is very easy to grasp. Now, the case itself, we have a satinized finish there. We have these lovely polished lugs, which chamfers here, and that then goes down onto the lugs, and it just looks really nice. I think it looks really good. I think the Fine Link bracelet really complements this kind of style watch, because it's that borderline between sports and car. Even though it's at 41mm, it's a bit of a chunky dress watch, but this is almost what this is. It's kind of one of those. I think it is a very cool watch. Now, as we come around to this side, we have a signed crown, and we have the pushers, which are quite far out on this model. Now, the crown itself is a screw-down crown and pops out there. And as you can see, that you can just about see how much thread you get there. And does it screw in first time? Yes, it does. Very nice. Now, on the back of this, we have a beautiful, I think it's the LPJ L112. Yeah, that's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Movement. And it features a column wheel. Now, that is one of the reasons why the stop-start on this is so buttery smooth. A lot of watches back in the day were column wheels. The new cam operated. Not that there's any real any difference in the actual functionality of it, but it is just a nicer way of producing it. But it does cost more as well. You basically have a pull pull which activates on one of the castellations of the column wheel, or pinwheel, I think they're also called, and it's a more even progressive thing rather than a cam, and it is beautiful, I have to say. It's really well decorated. On the rotor on the back, it actually does have which number of the 500 this model actually is part of. Now, I put this one on the time grapher, and I think it was pulling +2 seconds, give or take, +3, somewhere around there. Typical Sinn kind of quality, really. They always seem to appear to be within chronometer specs. If it isn't, normally there could be a problem. So everyone I've reviewed always has been. So there you go. It's got just coming on for about 60 hours of power reserve, 26 dual movement. It's basically it's based on the ETA 7750 movement. The only reason why they're not using that is why all the other brands which aren't part of the Swatch brand as a whole, because ETA don't supply to outside companies which aren't in their group anymore. So that's why people like Solita, LPJ, all these are around because, you know, they will actually supply to them, but they're beautifully made. This one is exquisitely done, to be fair. Now, the bracelet on this. The bracelet is the fine link, and I am a bit of a fan of a fine link, only in certain applications, and this is one of them because it just looks that more dressed up. You can get the fine link on even their entry level models, but I just think they do look really, really good. Fine link is definitely a really nice looking bracelet. The only thing I would say is you don't get an adjustable clasp because you do get the butterfly style there. So you do get a half link here. We have the typicals in Allen key arrangements for actually removing these, and you do get the bottle as well of Loctite. But one thing which does come with this, being it's a limited edition, is a second strap. So this is the strap which actually comes in the box with the actual watch, and to be fair, it's a nice looking strap. I'm not sure what colour I would go for this. If I'd most probably leave it on this bracelet most of the time, but knowing myself, I would always swap and change. It's just one of those things. Let me show you this on my wrist so you got an idea how it looks. A quick wrist check. I'm wearing my Oris 65 Diver, the reissue back from 10 years ago now. I can't believe how great watch. Anyway, and Bob has got a very good looking dial from this Vario here. This is a Vario GMT, and I think it's a beautiful looking dial and very, very affordable. Anyway, my wrist size is 7¼ inches, which equates to about, I've got to think now, 18.5 centimeters. Oh, one thing I should say, the display case back on this is sapphire and has AR coating as well. So that's it. You can see you get quite a bit of bracelet on this. Now, that's it on my wrist, and I think that is, it's superb. At a 41mm watch, there's a lot going on there. It is quite impressive, you know, what they fit in this watch. I think it is quite a cool watch. Let me know in the comments what you think, guys, but yeah, anyway, whatever. Let's stay safe, and I'll see you at the next review. Take care, guys. All the best. Bye.